The doctrine of hell, that is most certainly the most difficult doctrine in Christianity. It's the most difficult doctrine for me as a Christian to accept. As a matter of fact, I've often told people that whenever we're discussing the doctrine of hell, I would love for us to find some way out of the doctrine. I don't want to hold to the doctrine of hell. I want everybody to be saved, and I want everybody to make it into the new earth. The doctrine of hell is a terrifying doctrine to me. And so I've often looked through the scriptures and I've told people, if you can find me a way out of the doctrine of hell, if you can find me a loophole, then I'll take it. But whenever I look through the scriptures, that's what I find is the doctrine of hell. And one important thing to talk about whenever we're talking about these types of difficult doctrines is that you and I don't really have a vote in truth. It's not as if we can sit around and discuss this and get around a table and have a committee and say, hey, do we want the doctrine of hell to exist anymore? Do we want hell to exist anymore? And as if our vote really matters in reality. The only thing that matters in reality is what God has said, and we submit ourselves to His Word and what He has said. Sometimes we would change things, and sometimes we like them just the way they are. But we don't pick and choose. We're not cafeteria Christians. Whenever I look in the scriptures, though, and I talk about the doctrine of hell, there is one primary passage, lots of primary passages to go to, but one that stands out more than any other, and that's in Matthew chapter 25, whenever Christ is talking about the end-time judgment, and whenever He's talking about people who come before Him, and those people who helped Him by helping His people and feeding His people and giving to those who were thirsty. And then He talks about those people who didn't, and He says in verse 41 of chapter 25, then He will say also to those on His left, depart from me, accursed ones, into the eternal fire which has been prepared for the devil and his angels. Notice here it says the eternal fire. Now we may stop there and say, yeah, the fire's eternal, but the punishment's not eternal. We have a popular view out there called annihilationism, which I would like to hold to, but I can't find. Annihilationists say that hell is just one day going to be vacated and everybody in it is going to go out of existence. But notice here, same chapter, just a little bit over, verse 46, it says, these will go away into eternal punishment, but the righteous to eternal life. Notice the eternal here. It's the same thing. Eternal fire, eternal punishment. Those two you can't take out of the context and say one means one thing and the other means something else. It is eternal punishment by eternal fire. Now, I don't believe necessarily that the fire is literal. I just think it's saying that it is a terrible punishment. And here's what it comes down to with the doctrine of hell, and what we must understand, is that as C.S. Lewis said, the doors of hell are locked from the inside. People are in hell because they have eternally rejected God. And God has provided His means of salvation, His love for them, but they hate Him, and they eternally hate Him. Therefore, hell is eternal.